Fantastic. Well, the officers and brothers of camp, please come to order. Welcome, everyone. Secretary Treasurer, please call the roll.
Commander Rick Stevens,
Present.
Senior Vice Commander Lynn Scott. Here. Junior Vice Commander John Horton. Not here. Camp Council Robert Archibald. Here. Camp Council Dennis Diatley.
Here.
Camp Council William Smith. Here. Secretary Treasurer, I am here. Assistant Secretary Treasurer Tim Prater. Here. Chaplain Dave Moore is not here. He had to run to the airport. Guard John Ruggles, not here. Guide Dave Volunteer, not here. Memorials Officer Avery Brandt.
Present.
And Patriotic Instructor Jim Hella here. Commander, the roll is called.
Brother Enlow, please announce our brothers joining us via Zoom.
Okay, we have by Zoom, we have Lynn Scott, Dennis Diatley, Fighting Ken Hooker, Bob Archibald, Mark Haynes, and Avery Brandt. Welcome.
Fantastic. Brothers, upon what principles is our order founded and what duties do we instill?
Charity and loyalty.
Loyalty. All rise, please. Brother Tim Prater is filling in for our chaplain duties today. Brother, if you would lead us into divine blessing.
Heavenly Father, high and mighty, down upon heaven and earth. Earnestly ask and faith. Bless our native land, serve with purity and integrity, free institutions, all coming. Bless our order. Grant that it may long exist and may continue to be great good for all. Give us willing hands, ready hearts to carry out properly these principles and objectives. Keep green in our minds memory of those who sacrificed so much life of the nation as we deal with them as in all things with your special. Give us your aid and in conducting the business to which we are assembled. And so bless us that charity and justice and peace and harmony shall remain and flow from us. Amen.
Amen. Let us recite the American's Creed. I believe in the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy in a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon the principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortune. I therefore believe it is my duty, my country, to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flags, and to defend it against all enemies.
Continue standing in a manner.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. By virtue of the power and authority invested in me, I now declare the General U.S. Grant Camp Number 3, Department of the Southwest, Sons and Union Veterans of the Civil War, duly open for the transaction of such business as may legally and properly come before it. Please be seated. Welcome to Prescott. A little cooler up here than down the hill, so to speak. Although it's been 90s and stuff up here. It's anything's better than 130. That's pretty bad. That's just pretty bad. We have some special guests today here. Becky and Dan, if I remember Dan, DeRocher, pronounce that correctly. Good. If some people might remember Becky from the National Cemetery. Did such a great work out there. She's being honored, one of our honored guests today, so fantastic. We have your wife. You want to, David, you want to introduce your wife to everybody?
Not new.
You're not new, but you're still a guest. And Mr. Bigelow, if you want to introduce your wife.
Hi, Jenny.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And then we have our department commander as an honored guest. Thank you, sir, for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Chaplain, do you have a report on ill brothers or any families in need?
I have none.
None today. Would you like to announce the birthdays?
I'd love to announce three. For July, August, and September, William Butcher, Dale Enlow. Oh,
Oh, 107.
Paul Hallerson, lined up in Idaho. We wish him the very best. Ken Morgan, an individual by the name of William Smith.
Hey, happy birthday.
Hey. Jeffrey, happy birthday to you. Our commander, Rick Stevens, happy birthday, Commander.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the better half of the Swanson brothers, Mark Swanson. I'm sorry. Mark Swanson in August. Those are the birthdays for the next 3 months.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll now ask for the approval of the minutes of the last meeting, Brother Enlow.
I believe everybody got a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. If there are no additions or corrections, I'd ask that they be approved.
I move, I second. Everybody approve, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Approved. Fantastic. Just go ahead and do you have a treasurer report, Brother Enlow?
Treasurer's report. We just finished the second quarter of 2023. And we come up with a balance in the checking account of $2,876.73. And in our JORTC scholarship fund, we have a balance of $1,255. I will send out the second quarter report to the commander and the council members via DocuSign for the signatures.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. Well, it's always my pleasure to bring in new brothers to our order. And we have 2 new brothers today. So that's fantastic. So if everybody would please rise. And will brothers Alan Fitch, brother Steve Bigelow, and our stand-in chaplain There we go. Tim Prater, come forward, please. Anywhere up front here is fine. I'm going to first ask if any brother in the camp has any reason to question the eligibility or suitability. Now's the time to say something. That's right. So we're good. Chaplain, please.
I'm honored to be the acting chaplain on behalf of Dave Moore, who had to take some relatives down to Phoenix to get on the airplane. So, you are now at the altar, the order of the Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War for obligation, and I assure you that in making this obligation, it will not conflict with any duties you may owe your God, your country, or yourself. If you are willing to proceed, place your left hand on the Bible.
Oh, tell you what. Why don't we just have you guys slide over this way? It'll be easier.
Raise your right hand and say, I, state your full name, and repeat after me. In the presence of the great Creator, and witnessing members of this camp, I hereby voluntarily
I, Alan Fitch, hereby voluntarily
and solemnly pledge myself
and solemnly pledge myself
to support and defend
to support and defend
the government of the United States
the
of
government
America,
of the United States,
to offer my life if need be,
offer my life if need be,
to preserve the flag from which lowered in defeat,
preserve the flag which lowered in defeat,
to always observe the day set aside
always observe the day set aside
by the Grand Army of the Republic
by the Grand Army of the Republic
as Memorial Day,
as a memorial day,
sacred to the memory
sacred to the memory
of the Union soldiers and sailors
Union soldiers and sailors,
of 1861 to 1865,
1861 to 1865,
and do all in my power
to all of my power,
to persuade others to do the same,
persuade others to do the same,
to be faithful in all duties of citizenship,
be faithful in all duties of citizenship,
to be obedient to the law of the land,
to be obedient to the law of the land,
to obey the Constitution
obey the Constitution,
and regulations of this order,
regulations of this order,
and to promote actively
promote actively
its objects and interests,
its
objects and
objects
interests,
and interests,
always and everywhere,
always and everywhere.
so help me God.
So help me God.
You may now lower your right hand. Amen.
Please be seated, except you guys. There we go. On the badge of our order, the inscription Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War reminds us of our high estate and our duty to our country. We are sons of Union veterans. May we prove ourselves worthy of this title. The ribbon is a union of red, white, and blue, the colors of our country's flag. The red signifies the unstinted streams of blood shed that the blessings of a free government might be our heritage, and that our own blood is pledged to preserve the freedoms and responsibilities we so gladly receive. The blue tells us of a true faith and allegiance which our forefathers held to their country and to each other, and charges us to be mindful of their example. The white represents peace, which with honor may our country always enjoy. The motto, preserved by the grace of God, reminds us that without the overruling hand of an all-wise providence, the sacrifices of our forefathers could have afforded nothing, and that God's favor alone can secure the preservation of our liberties. Like the eagle, may we be quick to discover our country's needs, strong in its defense, and swift to carry out the objects of the order. I present you your certificates. You have your rosettes, certificate and a roster for Sir Alan. And this will cooperate with me. I will get it apart. There we go. Brother Steve.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Officers and brothers, I take great pleasure in introducing our new brothers bound to us by the sacred ties of fraternity, charity, and loyalty. Let's give them a good brotherly welcome. Now, along with this, Sir Ellen, there's a name tag, your certificate. And
Thank you so
your
much.
medal, and same thing, Mr. Steve, all three of those
Thank you very much.
for you as well. If you want to say anything to the camp, you're more than welcome to speak out now, or not, never forever hold your peace.
Touche. My name's Alan Fitch. I'm fairly new to Prescott. I moved here in October from one of those states to the west that I have a political refugee from. I've been researching my family for about 20 years, I think now. I'm a member of the SAR here, was in California. Very active. I'm also on the board of a organization called American Heritage Partners, which is a nonprofit based in Nevada. Its mission is to try to educate and inform people about our history. Yeah, I'm a member of, I don't know, 5 or 6 different genealogical societies, and love it here in Prescott. I love the people here. I love the atmosphere, and very, very happy I made that move.
Fantastic.
My ancestor is George Johnson, and because of his surname, it was a little bit difficult to research, but he was in the Maine 11th. And in the process of doing research, I found a book that was actually written about his regiment in their tours. It was quite detailed, and so it's fascinating to read about all the different battles they fought in. Yeah. And fortunately, he passed away very soon after the war, as did his wife. So that was also made a little bit challenging because their child was adopted. So I had to follow that adoption.
Oh boy.
Do that. So anyway, I'm very happy to be here and look forward to participating going forward.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's a tough act to follow.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Yes. My wife Jenny and I bought some property up here a number of years ago and started building the house. We finally moved in the 1st of June. And,
oh, great.
We absolutely love Prescott. Jenny was born in Nebraska and raised in San Diego. I was born in Michigan. My relative, my ancestor was Cornelius Bigelow. My chain goes all the way straight up to John Bigelow, who was the first person, was the first Bigelow in America.
Oh.
And they came over in 1620. So I'm
Nice.
also a member of the Sons of the American Revolution. Cornelius was in the 2nd Company of Michigan Infantry. He was a private. And love it here, love the weather, and thank you very much for letting me be a member of this association.
Yeah, we're really happy to have both you fellas with us, and
Would
so-
you like to have Jen pin your membership badge on
Sure,
for a photo?
sure.
I guess I have to now.
Over here together, pull up your certificates.
Oh, okay.
Real quick.
Now you want to be in there too.
Hang on, I got the fan blowing
See
here.
if we can get, okay. Great, thank you.
Okay,
Department newsletter. You will be there.
can you put that down for a second and open this up?
There we go. Oh, it comes with a banding on it. We actually are in mourning right now,
Here we are.
and we'll be talking about that in just a couple of seconds here. Now, don't scream like a girly here. If it goes in more than an inch, then you could scream.
Okay,
I'll just get out through. I put it in the hardest part to put it, I bet.
I'm not gonna yell for blood wings.
Get in there, doggy. There we are.
Okay, good.
Fantastic. Looks good.
Thank
Looks real
you.
good. Thank you. Welcome, welcome.
All right. And Alan is a dual member, right?
I am a dual member. I actually am in the Nevada camp in Nevada. And I haven't actually physically participated in any of
Do
the
it this way.
initiation things like we just
Oh.
went through there, but I'm a member there as I was long distance. I have a lot of good friends who are part of that camp. So they convinced me to join. And I thought, well, I'm here, so why not do both? And
There we go.
hence I'm here as well.
Well,
Glad to have
fantastic.
you.
And I have a Springfield rifle in addition to my Charlottesville rifle. So if there's a need for participating in any color guard stuff, I'm happy to do that as well.
Well, fantastic.
I don't have a uniform, but
It comes with time.
I participate in the SAR color guard.
Yeah, perhaps you could bring it for a show and tell.
Sure, I-
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I don't know if I'm supposed to plug an event here at this time, but he's forcing me. I'm having a muzzle loading weapon safety class that I did with the SAR in Reno, and I'm holding it here because I thought it was really interesting. And so it's a 2-day class. You learn about the weapons during one day, and then you actually go out and fire weapons the second day.
Oh, boy.
So there's black powder. You fire a musket, a pistol, and a shotgun. And it's quite interesting and informative. You learn a lot about the history of the weapons as well as how to use them safely up in the course. And then it's just fun to go out and shoot these things because you get a sense of what it was really like back then to shoot the weapons that they used.
Wow.
That's in your backyard.
It's going to be, I don't know exactly where it's going to be yet. In fact, I would love anybody's help in identifying a classroom setting that will allow us to bring in weapons. No powder, but weapons.
There is a indoor firing range in Prescott. I don't know if they'll let us do the black powder and certain calibers.
Yeah. Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
But they allow you to put your own weapon in. They also have, good stuff there too. If after the meeting. I can
Great,
get the
thank
people,
you.
And then I will also get.
Okay.
Just,
Thank you.
Yeah, when you find out that stuff, get it to me and I'll just blast it out to
Okay,
everybody in an
terrific.
email and
All right,
that'll work.
great,
So,
thank
You
you.
bet.
thank you, gentlemen, please. Fantastic.
Welcome.
So reading and disposing of orders and communications, Brother Enlow, if you would.
Okay, since our last grant camp meeting, we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 general orders, 2 special messages, and 1 special order. And the Department of the Southwest has issued 2 department orders. The first special message was about the SUVCW website now being live. The first general order was a revocation of a camp charter in Michigan. The next general order 23 was a replacement of a Council of Administration member, Chris Workman. General order number 24, I don't even want to mention, was the one that came out about weapons regulations. I believe it was overstep, gross overstep. The next general order was about the 2023 Memorial Day. The next special order was about SUVCW logins and passwords. General order number 26 was that the Department of Ohio concurred with the proposed gender amendments to the Constitution and regulation. And general order 27 was the Department of New York also concurred with the proposed gender amendments to the Constitution and regulation. And I'm not sure why, when the Department of the Southwest unanimously rejected those amendments, we didn't get a general order.
We did not get a general order, no.
The next special order was the suspension of the quartermaster store. The fellow that's running the quartermaster store for National became ill, and he's not able to do it anymore until they get a replacement for him. So we won't be able to order new badges or rosettes or anything of that nature for a while yet.
For a while, yeah, okay.
And then the last special message was the passing of a past camp commander and a MOLAS past commander-in-chief. And that takes care of all of the national ones. Our Department of the Southwest issued 2 department orders. Department order number 3 created the last Union Soldier Committee. Our member who's not here today, John Horton, was on that committee. And Department Order number 4 gave us the results of that committee report, and it talked about the last Union soldier buried in Arizona. That's all of the orders since the last meeting.
Thank you.
May I add, Brother Enlow,
Yes.
there was also the National Patriotic Instructor sent out something on the 4th of July. And it was basically, I guess it occurred to him that, you know, we put a lot of effort as Sons of Union veterans into Memorial Day, and rightly so, but we kind of, I don't want to say gloss over, but when it comes to 4th of July, his take was we don't see a big presence out there. I didn't want to, you know, throw water on that by saying it was 115 degrees. There's no way I'm marching in a parade in full gear. Not happening. And that's just irresponsible to ask of it. But for camps like yours, the only camp really at that time that might have something tolerable, might be something to consider going forward. I know we put a lot of effort into Memorial Day, and you know, you guys have a meeting in July too, so that there's some effort that goes into it. But I thought his point was well taken. Like I said, there's for us down here in Phoenix, we kind of stay inside because it tends to be hot, or stay at the pool. But if let's say Grant Camp were to do something, you know, in conjunction with Flagstaff, you might get some participants to drive up there. So just a thought I want to put in you guys heads.
All right.
Thank you, Commander. If you wouldn't mind, could you send me a copy of that? I don't think I saw that, and we can get it out to our members.
Will do. He sent it to the Patriotic Instructors. So it went to Jim Heller, who sent it to myself and Commander Hafe, Camp Commander Hafe. I will send that your way. I think I didn't even see it on the 4th. I saw it like on the 6th, but I'll send it your way.
Thank you.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, in our last meeting, we took a little recess at this point in time. I'm going to go ahead and keep that tradition going. We're going to take 5 for comfort break, and we'll convene back here at 35 after the hour. Short break. Yeah, I can't figure out why they needed to issue two orders saying that they agreed with us. And no order saying that, but these guys disagreed with us.
I can take a guess.
Yeah.
Somebody's setting something up. That's what I'm thinking, right?
Well,
There's no other real explanation. They're trying to set up something. I don't know,
So my question, Commander, is if the CNC puts out an order that from our perspective is obviously not justified, do we have to follow that order until the national encampment, or is it just...
that's been debated so far. For example, the weapons order, there's nothing there. That's we're following the laws as they exist. There's nothing. I mean, you're telling me to do something we already do. You know what I mean? My challenge to that, and I'm going to read what I'm putting in my report, is more on the enforcement side, just because the other is a moot point. We follow the laws as written. We do everything, outlining something that's already outlined is pointless to me. But the gender thing, actually, all of the things, and I'm putting it in my report that all of the things we're going to complain that they felt it necessary to outline with an order are things that we already do every day. What is your point? You just want to generate paperwork? I don't know. But you do make a good point. If there is something there that changes the way we do business, are we bound to that? Do we have the authority to challenge it? What is the path to that? I mean, what if they come out and say we got to do something that we know is totally just bonkers?
Well, I'm not going to be frisking anybody and going through purses right now.
Absolutely. Me neither.
That's nuts.
Hey, I respect everybody who handles firearms. I don't handle firearms. You don't want me with a firearm in my hand. I will cause more damage. Okay. So that's a bad idea all the way around.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to read that, so I don't want to get too much into it. And everybody saw my email, right? That I sent to the Commander in Chief, and I felt it necessary to get that out there. I got no response. So,
really?
Yes, he only responds to the stuff that that either irks him or like you said, people that agree with him. He's going to send those out as orders, but you disagree, you get nothing. I mean,
wow,
it's a tough spot. I need a bio break though.
All right.
Yeah, I personally don't think that the commander in chief has the authority to do something like that, waiting for the national encampment. I mean, something that basically changes the way we do business should come down from the encampment, not just through a executive order.
I think you might
Which one?
be able to challenge it. I just thought of an avenue.
I'm gonna give two.
I just thought of an avenue.
Yes.
Isn't there something in our bylaws, national, I
This
think,
side
Yes.
and the middle.
that
always-
say something about
And
we can't create bylaws that are against the law, right?
Never
Right.
remember which side.
Yeah,
So by
and
asking,
I think it also says if any part of this constitution or this regulation or this bylaw is contrary to state.
Yeah, the only
local,
thing I
or
have
federal
not
law,
labeled, this
then
one's
it's
supposed to
null
go
and
over
void.
here, but it didn't.
that's kind of where I'm thinking, asking a citizen
Okay, so
to,
this is the Department of South-
confiscate weapons from
This is our
somebody,
Okay.
Department of
just,
South-
just,
He's got
I mean,
one.
aside from the fact of it being a stupid, ridiculous idea, you're putting people in harm's way that
That's
don't
Department of
deserve to
Southwest,
be
and
there.
you can pick
If that
those
were
up
to,
at,
let's say, for argument's sake,
I'm sorry.
I see somebody with a weapon, they're not supposed to have it. I say, you can't have it. We struggle, I go to grab it from him, somebody gets shot. This whole thing blows up.
like a hat or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So the practicality of it
let me
and the
write,
logistics of it is just insane. It's just, and then the arguments go back and forth. Well, we're not asking you to do anything like that, the law enforcement, but you actually are.
That's where I
You're
got my
saying, it says nothing about letting law enforcement handle confiscating weapons. It says we are the ones in charge of the thing.
But,
Yeah.
they do the hats
Yeah, and
they-
Really,
they
I
do
think it would have
uniforms,
been
too. So you
nice
can get
for
a
'em
number of different
to
things.
maybe
point
explain
in time,
some
I'm
of the
gonna get
background on why
straight
he
pants,
thought
so
this was
we-
necessary.
We walked up.
There are, let's face it, there's 100, maybe more better ways to explain,
Avery was there and he had it.
to make, if you wanted to make that point, you could have done it in a way to
I didn't have anything.
be
so I-
respectful,
July-
okay? Know your audience, and continue doing the business that you do, but you can make your point without making it in such a way that just sounds nuts.
Does the medals and.
Yeah,
and there's some other
exactly.
things that they do. I'm all done.
We're beating the dead horse
It was
here.
very-
Yeah, I know. And I missed the break window, and I got to get a quick break. 30-second.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of food.
I just wanted to let you know, I did get talk to our. He thought it was.
Oh,
So,
Good,
but
good,
he,
good.
I asked him
Well,
if he should be speaking
You got,
at
you got your.
another meeting in the future about Prescott.
What is that?
Yes,
This is
Okay.
the company that my great
invite
grandfather.
her in the future.
Okay. we can do that. We'll be back down here in 6 months. We do, our next one's in Flagstaff, and then we kind of switch back and forth to try to cover more territory. So.
Just for.
All right.
Where you at here?
All righty. Let's keep her moving here. We'll go to our reports. Start out with any Zoom meeting suggestions or improvements between myself and Brother Enlow. I watched the last one that we did. This is the first time we kind of introduced these little microphones, and the microphones do okay. I think the one that we have with the long neck on it probably picks up things a little bit better. These, you almost have to be right on top of it, in order to hear. So that was the what I took away from it last time. If you are going to come up and say something, grab the little mic and have it right up to your mouth. Then people will be able to hear you a little bit better. Jim, you were on the Zoom last time, so was the hearing?
It was a lot better than it had been.
Okay. Okay. We're trying to improve it, and I got a comment on the agenda later on about discontinuing Zoom meetings, but we're going to get to that in a few minutes.
Commander, at our last venue, I thought it would really help to have the screen where all of the in-person people could see the Zoom participants.
Oh, the Tavern of Mediterranean.
Yeah.
That was such an excellent venue. We had this big screen TV right behind us that we were hooked into. Then everybody in the room could see you guys up on there. It's just fantastic.
And that way, when somebody is on the Zoom and speaking, they're not just a disconnected voice.
Right. And we've got a nice
Naturally.
speaker bar here that everybody comes through loud and clear. So everybody on Zoom, when you say something, we definitely hear you. So that's fantastic. So I think we'll keep going down that road for now. Any more comments on that? We'll talk about Zoom in a couple minutes again. But let's start with our old business. I want to, if Brother Prater would come up. And you might as well just grab a microphone, but you're going to be here for a few minutes.
Here, yeah.
Sorry, did you say something about Zoom?
We were just asking about improvements or suggestions.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I will say, again, I hate to keep interrupting. I will say, I'm really glad you guys are still doing Zoom and it's well attended. It sounds like the Minty camp is going to discontinue, and I've got to reach out because I think it's just an option for. I mean, you may, even if you don't have anybody join, the option is there, and I hate to see that go away.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and talk about that now. That was going to be one of my new business items.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, you're just keep it for a second. But that's the point, because it was my feeling that I think we should continue the Zoom. We're kind of set up for it. We got some folks that are kind of spread out a little bit. And I mean, Brother Mark's way out in the Tulies there. Sorry, Mark, but you are. We got some people spread out a little bit between Phoenix and Flagstaff and Hackberry. Well, Hackberry's here today. And some folks over in New Mexico. So it's a long drive, and I welcome them to be part of the meetings. I wish more folks would dial in on the Zooms if they can't be here, because we only have 4 meetings a year, and we're not monthly, so it's pretty important to tune in and listen to it. And the nice thing is about our Zoom meetings, we're recording these meetings. And we're putting them out on our YouTube page, so people can come back and catch it later on and get the gist of it. So our setup right now, we can hear things just fine. Hopefully these microphones are a little bit better than what we have. We got Wi-Fi. We've got a good facility up in Flagstaff with a great TV, so everybody can see the Zoom rather than a little bitty laptop.
That's a question.
I don't necessarily have a question, just a comment on Zoom, and I think it's great because the last 2 times I didn't attend, I mean, I had other reasons, but I-17 north at almost any time of day now is a parking lot. And I'm not going to sit in traffic I'd have to leave here about 8 o'clock to get there by 11. Wow. And it's only an hour and a half drive. It's, less than that actually on a normal day when there's not, everybody's ripping up the I-17 for construction.
That's a good point. We have very limited main arteries of travel, and
yeah.
Unfortunately, some of them are getting blasted right now. I guess in the future they'll be fortunate that they're doing it. For now, it's a pain in the fanny, right?
So yeah, right. But the I-17 is just right north of Phoenix. It's a parking lot on the weekend. Everybody's getting out of Phoenix, and it's just a mess.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
But the only question I have heard about the Zoom meeting, and I'm not sure if it is why Minty Camp is deciding to drop them, is that some people feel that when you offer the Zoom meetings, there's less incentive for people to come in person. But since we are so widespread, I believe that we should continue them. It's not costing the camp anything because the department has paid for the Zoom subscription. And so it's not costing the camp anything to host these.
That's correct. And everything's been donated. So thanks to the brothers, you and I, that have donated that and have the equipment and a wherewithal to do this. So in my opinion, I think we should just keep going forward as we're doing now, and why stop something that's working?
Yeah, another point too. Consider, a brother who's ill, just can't not very mobile. I mean, we really need to be sensitive to that, and if they can, participate with the content. We actually our last Zoom, we only had 1 attendee, which was fine. And we're getting 35, 36. I was at the daughters meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they're getting 35, 36. So down here, we're getting big attendance. But I think we should consider, brothers that maybe just can't, for whatever reason, especially illness or mobility reasons.
Agreed. All righty. So we'll continue with that. So let's continue on with old business here. And let's talk about the Eagle Scouts. Brother Tim.
You know, Rick thinks that I get up here and I enjoy talking, and that's just absolutely not true. But I would like to say this. What we're doing is like a hardball. You know, we're big time. This is not softball. This is not softball league. We're in the major leagues. And I just can't be prouder to be here. And I used to play first baseball. But anyway, I got this, there's an antique store right up the street. You ought to go in there. It's the most unbelievable thing. They have everything in the world you ever want. Okay. Eagle Scouts. Couple months ago, there was about 4 of us that attended what would you call that? An induction ceremony into the Eagle Scouts. And it really, I thought it really went well for us, and we were well represented as this one individual became an Eagle Scout. We're planning on another such event, I believe, within the next couple months, and I will again make sure everybody in our camp knows, and would ask that the commander give out the award. With that said, I think just my gut feeling tells me that Eagle Scout program is so important, not to us, but to those kids. When they receive that award, it really means a lot to them, and it kind of binds the Eagle Scouts to the Sons of the Union Veterans Civil War. So I'm really a proponent of it based on one meeting. But with that said, Dennis Lamb, who was our state coordinator for many years, has now departed. And, you know, I learned in the Army, I don't know about the Air Force, but I learned in the Army, you never volunteer. So what I did is I volunteered to become the state Eagle coordinator. And it's because I know some of these Eagle Scout I'll call them commanders. And I think I can maybe make some inroads and see if we can actually spread that out. Now, of course, I'm not going to do that alone. And I'm not going to say the rank, but Steve Bigelow and I are the same rank coming out of our respective Army and Air Force. Of course, the Army is superior to the Air Force.
Oh, here we go.
No. But I'm not telling what Steve what to do. But I did ask him if he would help me do that. Well, Army Air Corps, yeah. I think I brought up a sensitive subject. Navy. So anyway, Steve's going to help me out here on the local level. It's not a lot of work, but I think from home, I think I can maybe get the right connection and maybe see if we can kind of spread this thing around the state. I think it would be good for our membership of us being able to make contact with adults, and maybe, you know, as one of our commander's goals is to increase membership, and I think that's one way we can indirectly help increase our membership at the chapter level. So I just want to thank Commander Hooker for accepting my offer, and I will do all I can to help out with the Eagle Scout.
Brother, just to clarify, Brother Lamb has departed the post. He's still alive. So he has departed his post. He's still a member, but due to some reasons, he's left his post, and he's not an active member. I'll say it that way. And I so appreciate you stepping up for that, because yes, it's very important. And of the things that Brother Lamb was doing, we're trying to fill in some holes, because he had been doing a lot of things for our camp and the department to an extent as well. And I really do appreciate you stepping up for that. And I feel like you're going to do a great job in that role.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So let's just go right into our ROT and JROT awards that we did this year. You want to recap that for us?
I will very, very quickly. We did very well on the JRCRTC awards. And I want to thank Dick Millick. We worked together with the SAR where we could not attend as a presentation. The SAR presented on our behalf. And the same thing, we presented on behalf of the SAR. And I think that's a good thing. But we have given out all the awards, and we'll do the same thing again next year. And our goal is that anytime we can, we're going to have a member of our organization attend and actually shake hands with that individual when they receive their award. So
Yeah,
I think we're in good shape there.
right.
How many did Grant Camp give out this year? You know?
Okay.
I could get you the number. I maybe 14. I'll get you the exact number. I did provide that to Dale. He's got all that information, but I can't.
Yeah, if you could get that to me, I would like to put that in my report to the National Encampment as well.
Fantastic. Yeah.
ASAP.
And just to give feedback on that, I did the Bradshaw Mountain High School JROTC, and they pulled me off to the side afterwards saying, thank you. This means a lot that we show up and hand out these awards. So the positive feedback is there. They appreciate us being there. I think they like the hats. I'm not quite sure, but
What's not to like?
well, I know, right? Even though I forgot mine at home today. Sorry, guys. At least I remember the flags. That's what it's. But anyway, so no, that was good positive feedback, and so that's good to hear. And at the same time, feedback on the Eagle Scouts, we were doing the let's quickly. We're going to talk about the Memorial Day at Prescott Citizen Cemetery here. We were doing the cleanup the day before. Tim spearheaded that, and we had a lot of different folks show up. A couple from our camp, some people that were there last year came and helped, and everybody rolled their sleeves up, and we did a pretty good job getting the flags out. But from that first Eagle Scout, there were some people that were there that came up to me and said, thank you. That was very meaningful for us to do that presentation, and it was very interesting, and they were really tickled pink that we showed up. So hey, if we can do that for our Eagle Scouts, and maybe that will help us a little bit with signing some more people up, if you know what I mean. That would be fantastic. So in fact, as part of the Citizen Cemetery, I got a note in the mail from the county that said thank you. So if you, did you get one of those too? Yeah. I was not expecting it. I thought it was very nice. It just basically says, I appreciated your cleanup efforts at Citizen Cemetery. And it's signed Harry B. Oberg, District 1, Yavapai County Board of Supervisors. So that was that little thank you card in the mail, if you will. And does my heart good to get that kind of stuff. It means that we're making a difference. And that's important that we keep doing this kind of stuff. So with speaking with Memorial Day, we were at Prescott Citizens, we were at Prescott National Cemetery as well. Prescott Citizens, Tim did a Gettysburg Address, fine job. And at PNC, Dale did a great job as usual at giving the Gettysburg. And then Camp Navajo, Brother Swanson did the Gettysburg Address up there, and that went over okay, I assume. Second year that he's done that, so that's fantastic.
You know, I think it's incredible that Grand Camp attended 3 different events, and at each of those events recited the Gettysburg Address, but more so that we participated. As a chapter, we spread ourselves out from Flagstaff all the way down to Prescott. So I just thank everybody that participated in the Memorial Day events.
Fantastic. Brother Tim, you wanted to talk about a phone tree.
Last year when I was commander, myself and our vice commander, we just wanted to try to start a phone tree, and we did it a couple times. And I just wanted to ask if anyone in this room had any feelings on the advantage of maybe having a phone tree and maybe making that an active part of our program. Does anybody have any thoughts on the phone tree? Pardon me?
Results for the phone tree.
Well, that goes back a while, and Scott, you can help me. What I found, because we started this over in the SAR many years ago, what we found out was not necessarily about people attending a meeting, but that's of course the intent, is we find out if people are not feeling well, we can provide that information to the chaplain. Chaplain can send a card, and it's just a good way of trying to help bond these many miles that separate us. In our case, camp is what, 30, how many, 35 people? With a couple of people making calls or 2 or 3 people, it wouldn't be much once every 3 months. For example, we have a member of our camp here, and I've been neglected, but I want to get a hold of him. I want to make sure he's okay. Not to attend the meeting, but I know that he's in poor health. So that's kind of my thoughts on the value of the phone tree. It's not specifically only to have people in this room, but I think it does help as we get older. We might forget that meeting. That happens to David Swanson a lot at his age. No.
Under the bus.
Ouch. Yes, sir, Dick.
New inductees
Thank you.
could be the entity that actually phones the people on the phone tree. And that gives them an opportunity to meet and talk to people that they will not meet for quite a while.
It's not such
And
a
so
bad idea.
it helps them understand other people that are part of our group. And it also allows the existing or older members meeting the new people. So if we're going to put the phone tree into effect, I think that there should be some kind of focus of having the newer members talk to the older members, if you will. Just a thought. Tim and I are the idea guys. We're not the implementation people.
Sorry, Jeffrey, you'll have 15 people to call next time. No. But it's not such a bad idea. I mean, the goal of the phone tree is, 1, make sure everybody's okay. 2, remind them of an upcoming event or a meeting. Should people be assigned to certain people that say, I'm always going to call Dale and Bill and Jeff, or how does?
Well, what? Yes, sir.
Just a quick comment. I think that's a great idea. My concern would be people not recognizing the number that.
Oh, there's always that.
And I wouldn't be on their call list, so that's just something.
Well, and one way we get around that is we could send out an email prior stating that for this quarter, these 3 people are going to be making phone calls. And don't be surprised if you see a 928 or a 623 number coming in that you may not be familiar with.
Yeah, maybe call it a contact tree, but I like the idea. I'm sorry, I had to Google phone tree. I like the idea, and I'd be interested to hear how you guys make out with that. I mean, we have 65, but we're 60. So, but it I'd be interested to see how it works out. I think people start getting away from using their phone to people they don't know. They think it's spam or whatever. But if you sent something out ahead of time, I'd like to see how it works in a real sense.
Yeah, Lynn.
Yeah, I did that, and I sent an email out to everybody, and I got like 3 or 4 unable to deliver emails addresses back. And then I did call, and I may have talked to like 6 or 7 people. The rest went to voicemail, and a couple of people I talked to, they didn't know who I was. They hung up on me. It needs a little more. It needs a little more pre-call, needs a little more work in advance before you start picking up the phone. Is what is the experience I had, because I did it twice. And
I agree. So
I basically
let's
didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah, let's plan on putting out an email to the camp just to say, hey, we're going to start this. And so don't be too rude. We're not selling you toilet paper or whatever.
I only take calls from Nigeria.
The prince,
You inherited.
that prince of Nigeria, he keeps calling me. Wants to bring me a check.
So, okay, so
Can we just take a time out? This is really, really important. I mean, really, this is Major League Baseball important. So listen up, please. I know you're not going to believe this. I got a call from Schenectady, New York.
Schenectady.
And normally I would have deleted it, but you got to hear this. And this comes from my heart, that whatever you're about to hear, I'm going to share that with each of you. Because as John Horton said, I love each one of you. So with that said, here you go. Now listen up. If you can't hear it, I'll tell you what it says.
Your prize award. Congratulations. The Publishers Clearinghouse wishes to inform you that you've been selected as our lucky winner of $5,500,000 and $7,000 a week for life,
Okay.
plus a brand new 2023 Mercedes.
So I am going to be a winner. I am the winner. Of
So lunch is on Tim today.
500 and I'm going to get $7,000 a week. And I am going to share it with you because it's free.
As long as you keep fulfilling your duties,
No, I could have
we're good.
I knew I liked you for something.
It's all about
Hey,
me.
the next treasurer report's gonna be pretty good.
Oh, well, fantastic.
That works. You can buy a nice big 70-inch screen.
There we go.
That's right. OLED. Anyway, all right.
And I have one last
thing. Go
I
ahead.
don't like to talk up here, but I have to say something about Rebecca because Rick wouldn't know this, Bill would, is that the SIR was trying to get involved with the National Veterans Cemetery and we didn't know how to do it. And we went to Rebecca and we started out really slow and we really, I believe, we've now just become a part of that Memorial Day service. And it just took small steps, you know. But through that, I can tell you, you've propelled the Sons of the Union Veterans to kind of adopt Citizen Cemetery. So I thank you for all that you've done. You're just an awesome lady. So that's my 2 cents worth. And
There we go. And
I imagine you think I want to keep talking, but I think I'm going to.
Someone take the mic away from him. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you, brother Tim. Thank you. Next thing, we're talking about the grave markers and Flagstaff Citizen Cemetery. I put myself down on that, but really this is a Bob Archibald and Avery and myself type thing. And I put this out on everybody's place mark. This is the program that we ran for those 8 pioneers, if you will, GAR members that we honored on June 18th, was that?
17th.
17th, somewhere around there, whatever that Saturday was. It was a wonderful ceremony, a cemetery too. It was both good. That's yours. There you go. We had the VFW provided an honor guard that basically a one-man show playing taps, but what a nice, very beautiful that was. The Marine, oh boy, Marine Corps League, and they have a name this long, was fantastic. Those guys came out and gave us a real nice salute at each grave site. We have 4 volleys fired, and no constable showed up, so that's always good. But they were warned that we were going to do this, and it was just a great ceremony. It took about an hour or so, and thank you for everybody that showed up. It wasn't it was warm, but it wasn't too hot, so that was kind of nice. And I don't know if there's any other comments on that, but we were expecting hopefully a lot more folks to show up, and there was just a few of us that did. And for those who did show up, thank you so much. But I'm hoping in the future, if we do this again, we get a little bit better attendance, because there's quite an effort that's put into this. Bob and Avery walking through graveyards, finding these people and doing the research and finding out their colorful backgrounds, which afterwards some of our honor guard were coming up saying, "Hey, can I have a copy of that? That was pretty good what this guy did." That kind of stuff. So it was a pretty amazing day up there, and it was well appreciated that everybody that showed up. So anyway, this is your keepsake since we printed so many of them. I printed too many. That's my fault. Sorry. But I didn't know if local dignitaries, the mayors and the council and locals were all invited to come, and I guess it was too nice of a day, so it was no one showed up except for us folks. So for Bob's effort, thank you, Bob, on that, for doing all the research behind that. Thank you, Avery, for all that research behind that as well. And thank you, Dale. You had the most speaking to do with that. And so hopefully the beer afterward washed it down, and everything was good to go on that. So last soldier markers for Coconino County was placed by Avery. Avery posted that up on our Facebook page. If everybody hopefully got to see that. It was wonderful. Avery put the markers are a bronze star that says last soldier in the county, and he put it in concrete and put it at the basically right in front of the gravestone. In the cemetery, it's in Williams. If you're coming in on Route 66, it's the first one on your right. And correct me if I'm wrong, is Avery still on?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
There he
Here.
is. Okay. Good deal. Do you have anything that you wanted to add on that? Because that was such a nice job you did.
Thank you.
There you go. A man of many words, but that's okay. No, that was really nice. Down, he had some balloons, and it was fantastic. The pictures were great, and it provides a great honor to these folks.
They have a dedication ceremony pamphlet thing on National. So if we ever want to do a camp dedication like we did for the GAR markers, that's an opportunity.
Okay. Do you want to send me that link, Avery?
Yeah. It tells you everything, like what to say, what you leave at the grave. You leave like 3 different things, something like that.
Did you do any of that?
No.
Okay.
I just placed it and then took pictures and stuff like that, and just assumed that we would do a ceremony where we officiated.
Fair assumption. Yeah, we'll do that. We've got another one coming up in right in Prescott here, in the Yavapai County. I've got the marker. I have not gone out to the gravesite. It's at Mount View Cemetery, just north of the hospital on Willow Creek, on the east side of the road there. I have to locate the grave, and they're really picky there about how things are presented. And they would prefer us to just adhere the marker onto the marker flat on the ground. I'm not convinced it's gonna not cover anything up yet. So I'm gonna do a dry run on that. I'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll get a ceremony for that at some point in time as well, to make sure that that's done.
Those are
So
very nice markers.
they are nice.
They're heavy.
They're heavy. They're bronze.
Yeah.
They're not the ones that we did up in there. You said those are
Flagstaff or aluminum.
those
yes.
aluminum. They're very nice, but
Yeah.
boy, those winds, the winds blow them around a little bit. So fantastic. I have also on our list of old business, anything about the civic entry signs. Are we gonna just table that for now, or are we gonna pursue this? These are the signs like you're coming into Flagstaff and they have the Lions Club there and all that stuff, and we want to put SUVCW there and maybe in the Prescott.
Yeah, it sounded like the city, correct me if I'm wrong, Avery, the city of Flagstaff wanted it to be, what, 3x4 or something like that? Huge sign. And that is not the standard size that we can buy from the quartermaster shop. So we'd have to go to a sign shop and have them built. So I don't know, my preference is we just table that for the time being.
Let's table this for the time being. Do we need a vote on that at all? I don't think we do. Let's just
I don't think so.
hold off on that for now. I was hoping that Brother Horton would be here to talk about the last soldier committee. Maybe
Maybe Ken.
Ken can make mention on that committee.
Yeah, it's I was gonna make it as part of my I am mentioning it in my report to the national encampment. The committee determined the last Union veteran would be retained, which is Parker Gordon, and the candidate soldier Francis Weddle was determined ineligible due to not being a federalized Union veteran. And Brother France removed Weddle from the database. We learned a lot through that process. I learned a lot about, the rules about federalized versus state militia, et cetera. It was a matter of us following the rules that were already there, and the committee really not. If it were up to me, I would have said Weddle could be the guy, but the way it's written, we decided. Well, the committee decided, and I agree. I concur with their findings that he doesn't meet the requirements as far as what we know today.
As what we know today. So
and these are fluid, right? Somebody could pop up in, there are undiscovered graves all over Arizona, right? Somebody could pop up, in a few weeks that we never even heard about. So these tend to be fluid processes and findings. But as far as that goes, we resolved it, and we all learned a lot, I think, and it was in the end a positive outcome.
right, and not to take away anything from anybody's research, Brother Avery did a fantastic job of presenting that at our department meeting, and it sounded like a slam dunk at that point in time. And I appreciate all the effort and all the work that everybody put into this. And you're right, it's fluid. It might change in the future. But
totally open to finding new information that we didn't know about. I mean, this, as I said, I picture, especially in Arizona, some places maybe everybody's already done all the research and there's nobody left, but especially in Arizona where I feel like there's undiscovered things out there that somebody could come upon in a week or two we hadn't even considered yet. But yeah, So just based on what we know now, and you're right, Brother Avery put together, I mean, there was a lot of data to look at. There was a lot thrown at us. We just got to the point, and I'm speaking for the committee, we couldn't get that last step over the finish line.
Yeah.
You're right. At the Department Encampment, I thought it was a slam dunk too, and I thanked Brother Avery for giving us that, and I had to take it back. So, you know, like I said, it's fluid. We do the best we can with what we have at the time. There were some questions raised, which we felt necessary to pursue, and we did so based on everything that we've seen. I'll tell you what, we found information for this soldier Weddle, even back in as far as 1930s. They were Carl Hayden, the senator from Arizona, was arguing on his behalf with the VA, trying to get him a pension. Which
really?
Yeah, it goes very deep, and which makes me so two things. It makes me understand that he was a valuable asset to the Union. I can't call him a Union soldier based on those rules. He helped us, you know, win the war in a lot of ways, or at least keep it from escalating at the time when the war was winding down. So we are going to present, and need to talk to you about this, Avery, if we can make this happen. We will present a certificate to the family of Weddle in recognition of his efforts for the Union cause.
Awesome.
Just sort of calling him a Union soldier, because I don't want to confuse everybody anymore. But we do appreciate the efforts in the cause of the civil war.
Wow. Well, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah,
So there'll be more coming on that.
The pension file that these guys came up with was interesting reading. It. In fact, I believe it was the mayor of Flagstaff was also petitioning the pension board, and they were bragging that Flagstaff now has 3 miles of paved streets. I thought that was just great stuff to read.
Cool. All righty. Well, that concludes our old business. We have a couple new business items to take care of here. This is our July meeting, so we have to start talking about the council providing the 2024 candidates for the officers of the camp. So you council members, get your heads together and start filling the positions of who wants to do what. For next year, for the, I guess that's
Right, they need to come up
24,
with
25.
nominations for the elected positions.
nominations for the elected positions. Thank you for making that clear. And so we will be talking about those nominees at our October meeting, because we'll need them by then. Cool. Couple upcoming events. Last year we did the 9/11 parade in Williams. Brother Dale, myself, and Brother Avery, who doesn't want to drive through. I'll buy you lunch, Avery, if you come on.
It was easy back then because it was like 30 minutes. But now that I graduated, it's like 3 hours, and I'm like,
So if anybody wants to come up and march in the parade, Avery sent me the contact information. I saw an email on my phone. I haven't read it yet. So we'll get maybe signed up for that. I'll go again if you want to go again. Maybe Jeffrey, you want to walk with us up there?
yeah, I was gonna say recruit Jeffrey. He's
Oh,
right
cool.
by it.
Yeah, Avery had a great uniform on last year, so I didn't have anything.
Avery, if you need a place to let, I can find either at my camp where I'm working, or you can come up to my place that night before and we can head up from there.
See, that's possible. That's easier.
There you go.
We'll
And
get
I'll
you
still
there.
buy you lunch. Well, fantastic. So there'll be more on that. I'll put out an email. I do want to talk about the national encampment. Actually, Brother Enlow is going to bring up the national encampment to hear what he needs as department secretary. And Brother Hooker is going to chime in on that as well. So I'll turn it over to you guys.
Yeah, National Encampment, as you probably all know, is August 3rd through the 6th. And it's in Nashua, New Hampshire. Probably couldn't get any further away from Arizona unless it was in Maine. But apparently, we've only got one delegate from the Department of the Southwest that is committed to go, and that'll be John Horton. Our past department commander, John Conrad, is expecting another grandchild at that time, so he's not going. I understand Mark Clark from Minty is not going to be able to make it either. So, Commander Ken, if you want to talk about the department encampment or the national and your report.
Sure.
Your time.
Sure. First, I wanted to welcome the new brothers to the Order of the Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War. Happy to have you and welcome. I threw the Fighting Ken on my tag name there, just kind of in fun. My relative, Fighting Joe Hooker, hated that moniker because he said it made him sound like a highwayman or a bandit. I assure you, I'm neither of those. I don't even know what those are. 1860s parlance. Anyway, my camp's probably sick and tired of hearing about Joseph Hooker, but I thought maybe I'd throw that in for you guys. Yeah, so the encampment, unfortunately, I think it's a confluence of factors, which is a lot about, kind of getting out of the COVID shell and people having other responsibilities. It is far away. It's actually something like a 2-hour drive from my family's house in upstate New York, but it doesn't work for me either, unfortunately, so I can't attend. It's going to be a lively event, so if you were on the fence about it, you might consider. But yeah, I will speak to Brother Horton prior and make sure that he has our support and is able to represent us as best he can, and I'm sure he will. So stuff we talked about already, I'll leave out. Department membership, Treasury. This is my report that's going to the National Encampment probably this week. So if you have anything that you feel like I've left out, I had Brother Enlow help me on this, so there's a lot of representation from your camp here. But Pearl Harbor Day, talked about the department encampment, Union veteran plaque in Prescott, GAR marker install, Flagstaff. This is something interesting you guys may have not heard. We have a GAR post bench that we're going to be installing in the Phoenix Pioneer Cemetery. There was a dilapidated bench there, and Brother David Jackson basically spearheaded the effort to replace that with a bench with a plaque to the GAR post and presented by the Sons of Union Veterans. So that is actually in-house at the Pioneer Cemetery. It has not been installed yet. We're working on the logistics there. We probably won't do that until it's not blazing hot here, but more to come on that. Last Union veteran markers in Coconino and Yavapai, and the committee findings for the last Union veteran, which I already mentioned. Memorial Day observances by all the camps. I also mentioned that all 3 camps presented certificates to JROTC and ROTC. If you have numbers on that, Dale, I'll take them. I couldn't get numbers off the top of my head, but something to think about. I will add the Eagle Scout numbers once given. It's not there currently. And then just general department items where, so department encampment discussions, we debated the proposed changes regarding gender references, which was presented by PDC Heller. There were 5 proposed changes. We rejected all, and by majority. The general feeling was the changes would be unnecessary and provide no new benefit to the order. Again, we kind of talked about this during the break, Commander, where they're telling us stuff we already know, and we feel that it's unnecessary. And all it does is impede recruitment of new members in a lot of ways, right? So there's no need to say it. That's how we feel, and that's going in the report. The encampment, we're talking about the additional lineage requirements in GO05. Also unnecessary. There's no upside other than to say that we disagree. Now I'll read this one because it's about the orders 24, where I say, via emails, phone conversations, and expressed in an emailed letter, which you all should have received, from Department Commander Hooker to CNC Frail, the department's members strongly disagree with the General Order 24 regarding the restriction and enforcement of weapons restrictions at SUVCW events. This order, we feel, is an unnecessary overreach and provides no benefit to our members and possibly places them in harm's way. This order was so unpopular amongst the brothers of our department. As of this day, I've not heard of a single of our 113 members say that they are in support of the order.
Right on.
If I'm wrong there, please let me know now.
Oh, no, you're not wrong.
Again, we're beating a horse here, but we follow the laws as written. There's nothing additional that needs to be told to us in that regard. And I don't think we should be asked to perform duties in a law enforcement capacity. We're not capable. We're not authorized. And quite frankly, it's asking for trouble.
Yeah.
And then I talked a little bit about the supplemental ancestors via being recognized via an Oakley cluster pin. We did talk about this at the department encampment. If you had not heard, Brother Lamb, who is still a member but left his duties as in the officer capacities. It's thought that we could recognize supplemental ancestors with an oak leaf pin, and it's done now by other orders, and we thought it would, So I say we feel like this is a good way to support the ancestry search in a fun and exciting way, and reward the brothers for searching out additional ancestors who fought for the Union during the war. So I have a proposal. So currently in our department, you can wear this oak leaf cluster on above your badge. It cannot be worn by rules on the badge, ribbon. Okay. The thought is, looks better on the ribbon. It kind of completes the ensemble in a way. And that's the way they do it with some of these other orders that recognize this supplemental ancestors. So I think anything that gets us to talking about our ancestors in the Civil War and versus silly stuff like, bylaws and, weapons restrictions is a positive, right? So I think it's a no-brainer. Whether they're going to pick it up and run with it, I don't know, but I'd like to see it on the agenda. We've had, I don't know the number, even though I probably should because I'm the secretary of the camp by proxy. We've had multiple brothers submit supplemental ancestor applications. In fact,
Oh,
I
really?
got inspired to look for some, and I found 3 that are eligible for the SUVCW. And I got so inspired by this search, kind of going down that rabbit hole. I found a SAR link as well. So these are the things we should be, one of the things I think we should be focusing on versus some of the other stuff that has happened over the past year. But and that's all I have. If anybody thinks they want anything else added, let me know very soon, because it's going to go out this week.
Right. I have one note here that John Horton called me the other night and said that he has a room reserved with 2 beds in it, and he'll share it with you if you want to go to share the room, not the bed. If anybody wants to go out to the encampment, the cost share and stuff like that. And so he asked if I bring that up, so I brought that
Nice.
up. And so, but right now, it sounds like we just have the one delegate going out. And when's our deadline on the delegates?
Pardon?
What is our deadline on saying that we're going?
We can name alternates right up to the date.
Right up to the date. Fantastic. So everybody knows it's not too late. Not too late.
Yeah, at the department encampment, we voted that any member in good standing at the time of the encampment could be an alternate.
That's right.
And since we've got lots of slots to fill, anybody can still go.
All righty. Well, cool. That's all I got. Any other new business that we haven't talked about covering? All right. Let's have some fun now. All right. So we have this is our official call for any good of the order comments that anybody may want to bring up. Maybe I'll go ahead, Mr. Mail.
If anybody that doesn't have one, I got a deal on these morning bands that'll go on your badge. Anybody wants one, get with me after the meeting. I'll give you one. They tend to be just a little bit big for our SUVCW badges, but if you've got a Civil War housewife, can put a couple of stitches in it, they'll work and on your badge if you need them.
There we go. Yes, Jeffrey.
With that saying, I was able to put it in
Oh yeah,
That'll
he
work.
put his on the diagonal.
that way it kind of holds on the cannon part,
There you go.
Okay,
and it's working so far.
super.
Yeah, and in honor of one of the orders that came out, we are draped today, and we are in mourning officially for the.
Yeah, that was a special message. It wasn't really.
It was a special message, but we'll honor that and honor their past. So, okay.
Can I say something?
Certainly.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, because I'm inviting the camp, but our Sons of Spanish American War Camp is holding a dedication at the Bucky O'Neill Monument for a Rough Rider, and it'll be in late August. So,
Right here in Prescott?
yeah, at the Bucky O'Neill
courthouse?
Rough Rider Monument. So, I'll send out a little thing to you later on when we get an official date of, just inviting the camp if they want to
Okay,
speak.
I'll turn around and broadcast that for you. That's fantastic.
Thank
Cool. I know I've missed the last one down there. I was meaning to go, but I still run a business and it had me pinned down. So fantastic, Brother Avery. So we have a special guest today. Rebecca, come on up. For those who don't know Rebecca, she was working with the Prescott National Cemetery, and in all those years allowed us to come in and do our thing at the Memorial Day ceremonies. And so we thought as a camp that we're very appreciative of that. So we have a certificate of commendation for Rebecca. Let me read this for you. On behalf of the Sons of Union Veterans, in recognition of your valuable help in preserving the memory of Union soldiers and sailors of 1861 and 1865, we present Rebecca DeRocher on this eighth day of the 7th month of 2023 for this thank you award. Here you go. And Rebecca is going to say some words for us.
There's our own Matthew Brady.
So here is a hot mic here. If you want to hold it, that's fine. People will hear you.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much. I really appreciate you guys showing your appreciation for the things that have gone on at the Prescott National Cemetery since I've been there in 2007. As you all were involved, you know of many, many changes throughout the years. Some of the different ceremonies, some of the different political issues, you know, keep us from doing certain things for at the ceremonies and that. So you guys were always really flexible. All the VSOs in the area that have helped us out and come to the different ceremonies throughout the years have been very flexible and worked with us. So appreciate it very much. Thank you. And as you know, I retired in April of 2020. And my main reason for wanting to retire was so that I could actually start working in some of the other volunteer work that I had already been involved in, and just wanted to be able to focus more on that. One of them was working with the auxiliary of my husband's Special Forces chapter that he is with here in Arizona. And also with a Veterans First group that I've been with for a number of years. They're out of Phoenix. We mainly focus on working with female veterans to keep them from getting homeless. We have a number of different programs that we do that we've been trying over the years to bring up to the Prescott area for our women up here. So that has happened now. And even though we started right before COVID, we went Zoom after COVID, or during COVID, I should say. And now we're back at the VA doing some of the programs there with Veterans First group, with the VA. And they've donated letting us use their theater building there, their theater. So we've got a number of programs that we do for our women veterans in the area there. The one thing though that, well, as you did notice this year, I have even stepped back further from the Prescott National Cemetery as far as their ceremonies, Memorial Day and Wreaths Across America, just so that I could spend more time with these other groups. And so this year, I know it was a little iffy as to what was going to happen for Memorial Day. Fortunately, the Phoenix Cemetery, who is the parent cemetery for us up here, they decided almost last minute. It was actually 3 weeks prior to Memorial Day that they told RJ, who was my replacement at the cemetery, Robert Jones, that he could go ahead and have a Memorial Day up here. So those of us on the committee, we fed him as much information as we could. And he got everything together. He tried to keep it as similar as possible so that there wasn't a whole lot of new things going on for the community at that ceremony. And it worked out really well. I wasn't there this year, but I hear everything went really well. And really thank you guys for stepping up and being able to be available at last minute notice like that. So that was very nice. Not sure what's going on for Wreaths Across America yet for this year. They're still working on that. But I'll be around to help whoever steps up to take that role for Wreaths Across America. I'll let them know what worked well, what didn't. And hopefully we will have a Wreaths Across America ceremony in December this year. And I think, oh, the other thing that I really wanted to mention that I am still involved with the cemetery is our Prescott National Memorial Ladies. If any of you have been at some of the ceremonies, the regular services that we have, the funeral services that we have at the cemetery, you may have noticed women that were dressed in all black and white gloves, and we present a card and a rose to the next of kin at their ceremony. Our main focus of doing this is for those who don't have family members at the cemetery. So a lot of times we'll be down at the wall if they're just going to do what we call a direct placement and not even have a service for them. But we're down there, and our main focus is so that none of them are forgotten in any way at all. And we will even place a rose inside that niche if there's no family here. So I am going to continue doing that. Darlene Packard runs that program. I do have some flyers here for any of the ladies here that would be interested in doing that, joining our small group, or any of you guys that might think your wife might be interested in doing that. So you can take those home and have them call Darlene, and she can let them know about that program. And when we could maybe have them come and start with us, that would be really good. It's an honor to do that. And that's why I haven't quit that yet at the cemetery. I really enjoy being able to be there for the families, for that veteran. And again, thank you so much for this. This is really nice. I know my, I want to call him a coworker because I still work with him at the cemetery, and that's RJ. Unfortunately, he misunderstood when this meeting was today. So your guest speaker, RJ, won't be able to be here. But he did say he would love to still talk with you all at some point in the future and give you all the information about the cemetery that you would maybe like to know. I used to talk about the history of the cemetery, which started actually back in 1863, when the first cemetery was way out past Chino Valley area. And then it was moved shortly after that to Fort Whipple. And then it was moved from Fort Whipple over to where it is now. And that was in 1869, I believe it was. And so a lot of changes you guys have gone through and seen, a lot of different construction work over there. RJ can let you know about some future construction work that's going to be going on. There's a lot that they actually are going to be still upgrading. We are actually going to get a bathroom eventually. And if you only know the history on just trying to get the porta pot that we have there, it was amazing. So I've been able to see all that progress. Dan and I aren't moving anywhere, so we'll still be around to be able to see more progress there, and you guys too. Thank you.
Thank you. Question here.
Oh,
And I think many years ago, I asked you how many Civil War veterans are buried at that National Cemetery? If I talk to RJ, will he be able to help me?
He may have that better information. I know when there was a real problem of, people that were gonna be going out and making a mess of the graves for a short while there. I forget what year ago that was a problem. All the national cemeteries were supposed to go out and look to see for their Civil War soldiers that were there. And we had to make a report up. I do believe there were 2 or 3 that we had found at that time. And so we had to make a report up just to make sure that they weren't vandalized at that time when we were having a problem with that. So, but yeah, RJ is very much into history and that. When he first started at the cemetery, he asked me about the 25 unknowns that we have there. And I explained to him it was most likely because of the flooding that they had going on over at Fort Whipple. And when they moved all the bodies over to the new site, there were about 25 that they could not find out who they were. And he was just determined, I'm going to find out who they were. And so we can get some markers updated and that. And I said, well, Charlotte Hall will help you the best they can, but good luck. So he's very much into history. I'm sure he would help you out with that.
I think it'd really be awesome if we could identify who these Civil War veterans are. Maybe write up a little bio on each one of them, leave them in a newsletter. Maybe one day as a group go over there and visit those graves as our Civil War veterans.
Yeah.
That's another project that Bill's going to be working. No? I was thinking about, was there any still in Gina Valley? Tim's.
sorry.
Right there, who's kind of the assistant mayor.
Yeah.
If there were any.
Yeah, Dan and I went out when I first started working at the cemetery in 2007. So it was 2007, 2008, when we went out and we checked that cemetery out. The cemetery itself is still there because there were also pioneers from those days that they buried from that area, from that city up there, wherever they were calling it.
Half a dozen big tombstones from pioneer people. But theoretically, all the.
Yeah, all the military individuals were brought to Fort Whipple. So if you go up there, you'll see civilians up there still buried, but yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Is it on private ground or?
Yes, it's hard. Actually, if you're driving down 89, you know what to look for? You can see it. Way up, right where old 89 first turns on. You'll see that one ranch right there after the entrance to it. Straight back from there, and there's an old dead, it used to be a big, huge dead tree right under the big dead. But it's on the far back end of that ranch.
You can walk from there.
Well, we contacted the real estate agent that was trying to sell that ranch at the time. She said, yeah, you guys just go on. So we got her.
Yeah, it isn't easy access.
Yeah, there is a road somehow around the backside that it's an old dirt, old Chino Valley dirt, buggy road.
Horse and buggy road, yeah.
That's about it.
All right. Fantastic. Yes, sir.
I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
So the National Cemetery out here, is that the one over there by the ocean view, Ocean Club? Or is that one here on? Correct.
That's Pioneer Cemetery.
Okay.
That's tied to the Pioneer home up on the hill. That's their cemetery.
So you also know about the monument across the street with the pioneers on it, or the veterans, memorial site there?
You're going to talk about the triangle part?
I would like to say so, next to the statues and the flagpole.
Yeah, right up the road.
Okay, I was just curious, because it seemed that there's some flag was upside down. Like, this past weekend, for,
Someone's in distress.
Arizona is in distress.
well, yeah,
Upside down flags.
but I was just wondering, like, as at first I thought it was gonna be for saying like, well, yes, we are in distress, but, it was just kind of weird to see it, because usually it's always on the right, and then all of a sudden the weekend of the memorial for the 19 hot shots, it's upside down. So I just was wondering. Yeah. So.
Hopefully it was just.
Probably a boo-boo. All
Yeah,
right.
Californians that moved here got the duty of putting the flag up that.
Yeah. Commander, it looks like Brother Horton is now on Zoom.
Hello, Brother Horton. Here we go.
I unmuted myself. Good morning, afternoon, guys. I hope that the meeting's gone well. I apologize for being late.
Oh, that's quite all right. You're at the point where I actually had the John Horton presentation going on in our meeting, but I would rather you do that in person.
Can the group hear me right now?
The group can hear you, sir.
Hey, guys, I want you to be teased. You have to attend the Flagstaff meeting 3 months from now to hear how I took an oil portrait of my great-grandfather, not my Civil War ancestor, but something that you might find in your family. If you always wanted to have a digital image of one of your ancestors and someone else has an oil painting and they just won't give it up, how you can end up with probably a better copy than what they've got, and better because you can have it sized to any size that fits the wall. I have to put 2 feet by 2.5 available for this painting, but we'll talk more about that. And I hope that you've also had a chance, or will in the coming minutes, talk about the National Encampment. it's a great opportunity to go. I have an extra bed, but Richard is the one who's going to tell me who my roommate is.
Well, we did talk about that already, and so far, you're our only delegate in the department, but we have up till the day before, if you will, or the day of, to put alternates and delegates in, so that's probably
Absolutely
a
correct. National meeting is wonderful. You are meeting some of the best people in your life by attending that meeting. You really decide. This is less than $1,000, guys. You can come up with it.
All righty. So
John, can I have you talk to my wife? I'm gonna put you on the phone with Missy Hooker.
It doesn't take much time out of the schedule, guys. You can do this.
All
Totally
right.
understood. And it is a fun event, and it is this is, if you're gonna attend one encampment, this is probably the one to attend, which I'm really bummed that I can't figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah, I do have your delegate card, Brother John. I will put it in the mail and mail it to you. And if anybody else decides that they want to go to New Hampshire, get with me right away and I'll get you a delegate card. They won't let you vote on the floor of the encampment without a signed delegate card.
That is correct. And Dale, thank you for sending me a copy.
And the date of that encampment is?
August 3rd through the 6th.
August 3rd through the 6th, so it's only a month out. It's coming up. We're in July already. Holy cow. All right, so John, we'll have your presentation in October for that portrait. That sounds fantastic. I think people are going to want to see that. And we're going to move on to our patriotic instructor presentation. Brother Heller, what do you have for us? Oh, we'll figure that out. I'll let you hold that while you talk. Okay. And I'll get out of your way. Thank you.
Well, it's been a long time coming, and I finally made a meeting where I could talk about patriotic stuff. But before I get started, I want to tell you a little story, and it's very true. It's a true story. Okay? And it starts out like this. Once upon a time, you're a hard audience, please. I can see that right now. You know it's not true, right? So anyway, Farmer John was at the lake one day and doing a little fishing. Well, this is a stock pond, and you know, stock ponds, you don't do any fishing in stock ponds. But anyway, he had a load of fish in his bucket, walking up, and a ranger stopped him. And he said, Farmer Brown, what do you got in the bucket there? Oh, just some fish. Well, you know, you're not supposed to get those fish out of this lake. And he says, oh, these are my pet fish. Pet fish? Yeah. He says, once or twice a month, I take it down to the lake. I let them go and put the bucket back in the lake, and they get in the bucket and I take them home. So the ranger says, you know what? This don't sound right to me. I have to see this to believe it. So he said, okay, come on. So we went down to the lake, dumped the fish in the lake. He's about 15 minutes. He'll be back. So 15 minutes go by, 20 minutes go by, and Ray said, hey, what's going on here? Well, I don't see any fish in here. Where are the fish? And of course, Brother Farmer John says, what fish? The story behind this is don't mess with old people. So anyway, that got you on the right track, right? So what we have here, and it ties into some of the information that first came out about the Medal of Honor that Benjamin Frail wanted us to talk more about or find some information on the Medal of Honor for veterans from the Civil War who were buried in this area. Well, I found a couple. I found one who was a Buffalo soldier down in Sierra Vista, but I never followed up on that. And he just kept coming with the stuff that I should go ahead and talk about as a patriotic instructor. So what I did is I looked through my information that I had, and I had a story here on Arizona treasure hunter. And the story goes on. And this all ties into the Battle of Sunset Pass. It was in the fall. Oh, by the way, one other thing before we go on like this, if I start talking too fast, which I do often, put your hands over here so you can't hear me. Okay, so it was in the fall of 1874 that a band of 20 Tonto Apache warriors were raiding through the Tonto Basin, capturing many houses, rifles, ammunition, food, clothing, and leaving many bodies in their wake. Soon after reports came in of the active and deadly raiding parties close by, First Lieutenant Charles King, along with 50th Cavalry troopers out of Camp Verde, along with some Apache scouts, were sent out to bring in the Apaches or destroy them in the field. On the very same day the soldiers departed Camp Verde, they picked up on some signs of the raiding party and soon came to Sunset Pass late in the afternoon. King decided that this was an excellent place to make camp for the night. We're pressing hard the following day to apprehend the Apache band. After placing pickets and setting up his camp, First Lieutenant King and a few men began hiking up a nearby mesa to get a better view and advantages of the surrounding terrain. As King and his handful of troopers made their way up the mesa, he was completely unaware that the very Tonto Apache he was pursuing were actually laying in wait for him, along with the same path waiting to ambush the soldiers. But when King was about a half mile from his camp, he was taken a prisoner. He was hurt in the very severe enemy fire, having been hit twice and needed by glancing arrows as well, being shot in the arm by an Apache rifle. The smoke from the gunpowder and the war cries of the Apache warriors filled the air. The troopers were pinned down. After 2 or 3 minutes of exchanging fire, a Sergeant Bernard Taylor ran through a hail of bullets to reach Lieutenant King and drag him to safety of the other men. King was falling in and out of consciousness and was not able to take part in the fight and losing a lot of blood. Every one of the troopers that were pinned down were wounded, but decided to fight their way back to their camp and administer and aid to the lieutenants as they reached their camp and comrades. Second Lieutenant George Eaton assumed command and fully engaged the Apache with a bulk of his soldiers. The Apache, however, were well entrenched, and Lieutenant Eaton, after nearly an hour of hard fighting, decided to head back to the encampment. This was a victory for the Apaches. The raiding party was not pursued anymore after they fought, and soon after the troopers returned to camp, a second military expedition was sent out a month later, which resulted in another skirmish near the Mohegan Rim. Sergeant Taylor, George Derry, and Rudolph Van Meeden were all given the Medal of Honor for their action on this rescue Lieutenant Charles King. This might be a small battle comparatively, but it played a big part in the history of the state and the Wild West. It was my goal that the events in history never fade away, and history be the true avenger. So, in 1943, a Western was made about the battle called Raiders of Sunset Pass, starring Eddie Drew, Smiley Burnett, and Jennifer Holt. Everybody remembers Smiley, right? Let me see, the battle set in the Coconino County near the Little Colorado River along Highway 87 to Winslow. if while on your adventure, this week, you happen to be near Camp Verde or Winslow, maybe make a beautiful scene drive, check out and play a large part of the being known as the Wild West. And that's my story. Is there any questions? Thank you. Okay.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you, Brother Hill.
You're welcome.
Very good. Well, we were going to have a guest speaker, RJ, today, but I guess we got our dates mixed up. So we'll ask him back in January, if that's okay with everybody. Everybody else, I'd like to hear some of the improvements going on in National Cemetery and stuff that we don't know about.
Hey, Commander, if you
Yes.
have a sec, I'm going to do an impromptu show and tell. Take a minute or two. So on the Reddit site for the Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War, there is he was JVC, he might be SVC now, of the Department of New York, who runs it. He set it up and started running it. And Reddit is basically a social media. It's geared towards a younger crowd, but they do post a lot of really interesting stuff for the SUVCW. So he posted this T-shirt sale drive that they were doing for the Department of New York. Now this, on the front of it, and I bought one, on the front of it, it says Devil Dan Excelsiors.
Okay.
It is Dan, and it's a picture of Dan Sickles on the back. If you don't know General Dan Sickles, look him up because he's a really interesting character. And they put this together. They're like $30. I paid $30 for it or something like that. I was thinking that if somebody had a connection to some famous Civil War participant from Arizona, we could do something similar, right? So think about it, toss it around. I just thought it was really cool. And Sickles is a guy who lost his leg at Gettysburg, and it's in a museum with the cannonball that went through it. And he used to go visit it when it's at a
His
national.
legs in the museum.
His leg is in the museum along with the cannonball. His leg was amputated.
I would assume so.
He would go visit it. He's just a really interesting character, and he's from New York. So.
I've got nothing for that.
Well, I think I don't really either. But somebody like Avery or Brother Horton, maybe do some research and find somebody. I think it might be a fun, and it's really, they only make the shirts that are ordered, so I don't know what kind of a percentage you get out of the cost, but I thought it was kind of a fun thing.
If someone wants to pick the ball up on that and run with it, that would be great. That would be kind of fun to do.
Maybe Kit Carson.
Oh, here we go. Well, we got a second on the floor for Kit Carson.
Kit Carson T-shirt.
Oh God! With a picture of them ripping it out of the library. Oh Lord! All righty. So our next meeting will be on October 7th. That's the first Saturday in October. At the Taverna Modern Mediterranean Restaurant in Flagstaff. We're there. It's easy to find. If the address is on the papers, plus we'll be sending out plenty of propaganda for that as well. So if I can get everybody to stand up, please. Chaplain, if you would do our closing prayer.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we pray you will deal with the events of this meeting as you deem proper and fit. Please answer the heartfelt prayers that each one of us has permitted in your perfect will. Preserve us in health, strength, and integrity while we remain here. When our mission on earth is ended, take us to a better world. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Officers, brothers, and guests, We are about to leave this camp and return to our respective homes. Let us strive to regulate our conduct to bring honor and credit to our order. Thank you for your attendance and devotion to our camp. I now declare General U.S. Grant Camp Number 3, Department of the Southwest, Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War, closed until our next meeting on 07 October 2023 in Flagstaff, Arizona. Huzzah! Huzzah!
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks for everybody coming in on the Zoom. Always appreciated.
You doing, Dennis?
I do apologize. I had a knock on the door, had to go see it, but enjoyed being part of the meeting that I could, guys. Take care of yourselves.
Hey, Mark?
Yeah.
Mark, is that the kind of hat they had in the Civil War?
I think the first order of business is trying to find somebody.
The Irish Civil
We'll
War.
kind of chase that down.
Yeah, it was the Irish Brigade.
That's exactly it.
All right.
Dennis, are you in Hawaii?
Man, I'm here at the ranch. It's been a hard day.
Well, evidently.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, global warming.
That's a good idea, but I don't know if there's anybody that, anybody's anybody. Yeah, we do. Not a bad idea.
We'll see.
Maybe we could also make a, unless we already do,